Hi guys. Um, First off, I just wanted to thank Tiffany for mentioning in her announcement for this week um, about workshops that sometimes we might be workshopping something that's not quite ready to be workshopped, but we, just don't have the luxury of time in the MFA program, so we might be just um, workshopping the stuff sooner than we'd like just because of time. And that's something Stephen King had addressed in On Writing. He said, how long you let your book rest, sort of like bread dough between kneadings, is entirely up to you, but I think it should be a minimum 6 weeks. Like I say, we just might not have that luxury, but I know that from past experience, it has helped if it's not something I just wrote. If it can just cool off, because it's such an emotional process especially depending on your subject matter. Uh, Stephen King also says that you should look for patterns and critiques, and that's what Tiffany said she does. And he actually had a really funny quote that I want to share. He's talking about, well, he's mostly talking about editing, but I feel like with critique it's gonna feel a bit like editing, even though it is the workshop process. He says, plenty of writers resist this idea. They feel that revising a story according to the likes and dislikes of an audience is somehow akin to prostitution. If you really feel that way, I won't try to change your mind. You'll save on charges at Copy Cop too, because you won't have to show anyone your story in the first place. In fact, he said snottily, if you really feel that way, why bother publish it at all? Just finish your books and pop them in a safety deposit box, as J.D. Salinger is reputed to have been doing in his later years. I love that he dialogue tags his own voice. Anyhow, he's exaggerating to absurd proportions to say, get over yourself, let people read it. That revising according to likes and dislikes of suggestions isn't prostitution. And if you feel that way, pull a J.D. Salinger and just don't show it to anybody. Now, when I'm writing, I'm really caught up in my imagination. And so what I really hope to gain from the workshopping process is the feedback on whether that's translating on the page or not. If I'm not evoking the vision that I think I am, I need to know that you guys just aren't getting that picture from me. And workshopping can really help us in the future. Like if we get an employment evaluation, and I especially think for teachers are being critiqued all the time. And we're going to benefit from, workshopping all our work, because it's going to help us to actually accept literal criticism, in the professional world, constructively, if we have that opportunity. And also if it's just, I read something on Goodreads today and it was kind of brutal, because I haven't really experienced, I haven't gone on Goodreads, and nobody's critiquing my story on Goodreads, but that's not even, actually I'm so sorry, I'm scatterbrained again, but Goodreads, the ones that I was reading actually did sound like a good critique, but of course it was of the whole work, and it's too late now. It's published, can't change it. But yeah, if we'll be able to maybe grow some thick skin and read those kinds of things about our work even after we're done the work. But certainly the novel that I have at the end of this MFA program will have been peer-reviewed and pre-critiqued before it hits Goodreads. So that's a good thing. So really what I hope to get out of the workshop is a better story than what I went in with. Or a better written story. Not a better story, a better written story. Now, James Kelly, in his article on Writer's Workshop, he says, it's clear, however, that some writers are uncomfortable with the notion of colleagues helping to write their stories. Some writers are also uncomfortable with the notion of editing. Whose story is it if you use that killer ending Kate Wilhelm suggested? Will peer pressure homogenize your work? These are fair questions to which there are no universal answers. Now, I don't expect to have someone else provide me a new ending, but somebody else might provide an insight that inspires something new, or maybe I'll change something, Or maybe when I'm writing, I change something and the reader thinks, I really thought the protagonist was going to do X. And then I'll say, actually, that's what I was going to have him do. And then I change my mind. But maybe that will inspire me to go back to my first instinct because my reader picked up on it. My reader being my classmate in the workshop. And it shows up on Critique It. Hey, I thought he was going to say this. And I'd be like, oh my goodness, that's what I had and I changed it. Again, that was my advice from a couple videos ago about like maybe your first instinct is good, but that's okay if you change something because maybe somebody else, through the workshop process, you're going to go back to what you originally started with. And I just hope I can provide that kind of insight in return. I had done that in, I haven't workshopped in years, but I did do that live editing, and it was all about prompting inspiration in the moment and writing it down, so prompting inspiration would be a wonderful thing to be able to do. Now, Emily mentioned in her workshop experience that there was people that would win every week, and I don't know if she meant metaphorically, or it sounded like no, like there was somebody who, and then they got the open mic, and I am so glad that SNHU's Writer's philosophy says that no voice is more valuable than another. So I'm really glad I'm in this program because I would hate for there to be a popularity contest and somebody to be designated at the end of every workshop as the winner. I suppose some programs are competition based, but it is a popularity contest, and that's not fair because, not to get off topic, but a radio program that says, you got to get all your friends to call in, and the person with the most friends wins. That's not fair. Anyhow, okay, so those are my thoughts on workshopping, and look forward to everybody else's video or written thing, but I do like videos, so.